The chair recognizes the honorable member for Galanis.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to extend condolence on behalf of myself, my wife, my family, and the entire Galanis constituency. Philip Galanis, Madam Speaker, was a husband. He was a father. He was a brother. He was a hard worker. He was a friend. And most of all, he was a nationalist. I would have met Philip Galanis in 1966 when he started St. Augustine's, coming from St. Joseph High School, Boyd subdivision area. And he was very close with two other students from that area, Alvin Reese and Gregory Bonamy. And Madam Speaker, I would have came from the Baintown area and Beston Junior, which is now C.R. Walker, and entered St. Augustine College. I recall when Philip came, Philip was very suave. And all the young ladies, he was attractive, slick hair, and all the young ladies gravitated and liked Philip. Me, a lonely boy from C.R. Walker, unfortunately could never compete. But Philip was one of the most intelligent individuals I have seen or met. While at St. Augustine's, Philip was a 4.0 student. And few times he would have missed the 4.0 mark, and when he missed it, he would fall at the 4.92 mark. While the rest of us were struggling with 2.5 and above. But we persevered. Philip was a member of the debating team. He was a member of the swim team. And Madam Speaker, he practiced judo. Now, Philip had a habit of going to shake individuals' hand, and when he held your hand, before you knew it, you were on the ground. He would practice his judo on students. And I was thrown once by Philip, and I went home, and I complained to my brother that there's a young man in high school who likes to throw the students to the floor using his judo technique. And how do you deal with that? And my brother, boxer, informed me that to deal with those matters, once you met a judo individual, first and foremost, you must go hit the ground and grab them by the leg. You must attack them from the leg. And once they hit the ground, you are on even key. And therefore, the Baintown inner city component can come out where you would prevail. I remember that. So Philip only threw me once. I guess he knew what the plan was. But Philip was brought up by a very structured family, his mother and father and brothers and sisters. And I remember his mother always dropped him to school and would always pick him up on time. And while in school, the nickname for Philip was Lawman. That was his nickname in St. Augustine's, because he had an interest in law, and he used a lot of legal terminologies. And we always felt that Lawman would one day go into politics. He had a liking at that time for Pinland because he would speak from time to time about the Progressive Liberal Party, our Prime Minister, and his leadership. Philip was voted upon graduation. Philip was voted by the student body as the most intelligent male within the school. Then there was a young lady, Corita Wells, who was voted most intelligent female. And Benedict Dorset, who is now the vice principal, was voted by the student body again as best athlete. And I, Madam Speaker, was voted, I don't know the day how I got it. I'm still trying to find the answer. But I was voted by my peers as most likely to succeed. Now, you can imagine how well I felt having been supported by a 4.0 student who voted for a 2.0, 2.5, 2.7, 3.0 student as most likely to succeed. But that was great moments for me, having been voted in that capacity by then whom we called lawman. Philip subsequently went off to school, the University, St. John's University, in Collegeville, Minnesota, and I went off to St. Thomas College, which was in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I subsequently transferred to University of Minnesota. But, Madam Speaker, Philip still remained one of the most intelligent and outstanding students, even at St. John's. And then there was a law firm, Arthur Anderson, who goes throughout the world to recruit the brightest mind in the world to become a part of their accounting organization. Philip Galanis was recruited and hired by Arthur Anderson, the first Bahamian to hold that position, the highly recognized accounting firm at that time. Madam Speaker, Philip was very helpful and a futuristic individual. What I admired most about him in his political career, Philip was a nationalist. His goal and objective was to help young people advance and to help and ensure that females, the women, advanced. And I would recall a young lady having completed her studies, accounting studies, at University of West Indies, applied to Ernst & Young for a job at Philip Galanis. And Philip Galanis pointed out at that time that he had no knowledge of University of West Indies with respect to accountings, but he would ask his team to review her records and get some information with respect to University of West Indies. And if his team said that, yes, it's a great institution and they would recommend it, he would hire her immediately. That young lady was subsequently hired immediately by Philip Galanis, and she went on through Philip's training, grooming, and mentoring. She went on to become the managing director of Ernst & Young. That was the type of individual Philip Galanis was. He offered me a lot of advice and encouragement with respect to my book when I was writing, and even the book that I'm now writing, Philip Galanis has offered advice again as to direction and approach with this particular book. I always, Madam Speaker, because of Philip Galanis' love for this country and for young people and advancement of women, he reminds me of other individuals. And in fact, I've always said Cecil Wallace Whitfield, Bernard Nottage, and Philip Galanis were the prime ministers that we never had. Philip Galanis was the prime minister that we've never had. And Philip and I would have had discussions from time to time, and even B.J. Nottage, because I was prepared, Madam Speaker, to place both Philip Galanis, if the opportunity were there, both Philip Galanis and B.J. Nottage in my cabinet, because they were nationalists first and country first. They would not have looked at just PLP or FNM. I was prepared to establish what you would call an all-Bahamian cabinet, including. And there are one or two of you who still fits that mold. I'm not saying whether it's past minister or present minister. But, Madam Speaker, Philip Galanis, as he would be greatly missed, he would be greatly missed. And as I've said, he, Cecil Wallace Whitfield, and B.J. Nottage would always be remembered and admired by me. And I hope many would follow their views, their thinking in terms of advancing country first as opposed to politics first. Madam Speaker, I again extend my condolence to the entire family, and I'm certain that St. Augustine's, Philip, all of us, class of 71, I'm certain they would have some form of memorial for Philip Galanis, because he was our most outstanding student at St. Augustine's, the most outstanding who graduated in 1971, and even his peers voted him as the most intelligent male in St. Augustine's College, 1971. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Honourable Member.